Sonic Unleashed fans, I am finally one of you, and you can see by the date this video is uploaded that this is not an April Fool's joke. I've taken all the feedback from over the years and decided to give the game one last shot, and what I found is something so special that I feel foolish to have not seen it before. So if it's all the same to you, I'd like to formally apologize for all of the chiding remarks I've made over the years and walk you through the Sonic World adventure of a lifetime. This is the GOAT, Sonic Unleashed. Now, it wasn't easy to get this game to run properly on modern hardware because, as we know, it's extremely graphics intensive. But thanks to the video you can watch at the card up there, I was able to get this running, full frame rate, no strings attached, and I thank you very much for that, Sonixfan. One of the first things I heard about this game was that the intro cinematic was some of the most peak Sonic action that has ever been inflicted on audience eyeballs. And seeing it play out here, I have to agree. Sonic dodging lasers, Eggman looming overhead, looking very snazzy, might I add, before Sonic unfortunately gets hit with the dreaded double furry beam that transforms him into the fearsome werehog. A creature that is almost akin to a werewolf. Huh, I wonder where they got that comparison from. The adventure begins in Chunnan with Sonic talking to this little fella about his missing memories. But you don't have long to wait before you're boosting across this great wall, destroying robots, grinding rails. Oh my goodness, it is night and day compared to the miserable failure that this game was preceded by. Speaking of, I wanted to mention the loading screens are definitely improvement over that last game as well, so you know Sonic Team was cooking with this one. And what a gorgeous level, might I add. The amazing architecture littering the background, the authentic Chunnanian dragon corpses replacing the traditional loop-de-loops. Mwah! You can't get much better than that. I feel like I'm really in Chunnan. After a quick debriefing at the goal ring, Chip watches as night falls and Sonic transforms into the werehog yet again. Now, I've been especially mean about the werehog gameplay over the last few years, but now I understand that I was just playing it wrong. See, it's not actually a 15 to 20 minute slog with forced enemy encounters and irritatingly repetitive music. It's a glorious simulation of feral strength and ability. Sonic has truly become a creature of the night, demonstrated by his ferocious battle prowess and permanent confused dog expression to reflect the turmoil he's feeling inside. This all culminates, of course, in the perfect example of this beast being unleashed on the world. Tapping the attack button will unleash the werehog's combo, but smarter players will jump into the air and use the slam move, as it ends most combat encounters in an instant, so you can keep this nocturnal nightmare moving. Even when combat is extended to multiple enemies, it's really satisfying to see the werehog tear through all these robots. Though I do have to bring up the were-elephant in the room. This game does have a great deal of ludonarrative dissonance present. For those who don't recognize the term, this refers to the disconnect from what the story tells us compared to what happens in the gameplay. So for example, in this game, we are told that the werehog is this bastion of power and strength unlike anything that Sonic has ever experienced before. But when you play the game, you see in the day stages, Sonic is able to dismiss these robots and destroy walls and barriers simply by boosting through them. Whereas when we get to the night stages, the werehog typically has to attack enemies multiple times, and barriers are exactly the same. You need to keep hammering away at them until they're finally destroyed. This, of course, is an extremely distracting phenomenon, but I'm willing to look past it because of how much gosh darn fun I've been having playing this game, because at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. After a quick Eggman thrashing, we establish the status quo of this game. Sonic travels the globe by day and arrives in locations like Athens, Greece, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. He tries to track down Dr. Eggman, can't do it in time, and transforms into the werehog before giving Eggman the fight and fright of his life. These Eggman fights with the werehog usually gift you 2 platforms to stand on while Eggman runs back and forth, just completely terrified at what he's turned his nemesis into. Not only is he fast enough to catch up with him wherever he goes around the world, Now he's a fearsome beast that might just kill him if he's not careful. This usually comes in the form of standing on one of the platforms until Eggman runs into the wall, where you can just start wailing on him like the nerd he is, and then the world adventure continues as if nothing happened. Some standout bosses include the Missile Mech, where Eggman finally remembers he has 400 IQ points and starts using actual weapons against us. These missiles are easy enough to dodge, but just in case he didn't get enough of it the first time, he ends up reusing this one, and instead of having like 10 health, he's got 20? I think it was something like that. It's just, you know, it makes it so that you're able to sit there in this arena for a good 5 minutes and just truly enjoy what they made here. But of course, this also makes me think that this game, like many other Sonic Team projects, was very rushed, unfortunately having to reuse this boss instead of making something unique. And that's never a good thing to see when you're playing a video game. But don't worry, this boss is actually followed up by another platforming section where you are very likely to die and have to redo the entire stage, therefore having to retry the boss as well. See, the second time I got to fight this boss, it was very much like returning home after a long vacation. I felt safe and at ease and... Alright, it made me a little bit angry. I can't lie to you guys. You see right through me. Normal Sonic, on the other hand, only has 2 boss fights to his name, that being the Eggfish and the final boss. The Eggfish, I would say, is actually the most unique encounter in the game, having Sonic walk back and forth for 6 minutes, avoiding lasers very slowly, and thankfully, I didn't die even one time in this encounter, because I think I would have stopped playing the game if I had to redo it. Wouldn't be a rage quit, of course. You could never rage quit the GOAT of all time, you know? You just have to step away and do some introspection for a bit. Remember that the Eggfish is meant to stand in your way. It's something that you have to overcome and become stronger yourself. I think this also speaks to the story of the game, because Sonic is overcoming quite the massive obstacle being turned into this beast every single night. You can't help but wonder how that might play out in the real world when you're fighting something like the Eggfish. What are you talking about, man? I'm looking at myself in the preview window right now. I don't know, dude. I did actually get my first and only S rank on this boss, though, showing that this game is incredibly replayable if you would like to go back and try those levels again. For instance, one of my favorite stages is the one with the insta-kill spikes that are coated in blood and have skulls all over them. Is this perhaps the most graphic depiction of violence in the entire Sonic franchise? Sorry to say, Shadow the Hedgehog, you have been dethroned at last. Now, before we talk about the final boss, I just wanted to express how much I appreciate this game's visuals. I think Sonic's sprites are extremely unique. They are never used again after this, and they don't just rely on the Sonic Advance versions, like some of the other Java games did. The landscapes are always varied and vibrant, and my favorite sections of this game have to be when Sonic and the Werehog are going up or down these pillar sections, and it's this really nice 3D effect where they're spiraling around it. And it just makes me wish that this whole game had been 3D, but I guess back when this was made, it probably wasn't in the cards just yet. Alright, so that final boss. Sonic finally catches up with that speed demon Dr. Eggman, and he's been able to awaken the fearsome Gaia to power his newest creation. You've heard of Big Arm, but have you heard of Big Hand? In this fight, we dodge missiles from the robot in the background until the big hand smashes down to try and end our adventure. But instead, we're able to use that as an elevator to lift Sonic to new heights and attack Dr. Eggman right in the heart. This goes on for a few hits before he starts erecting a barrier around himself, which you need to disable by clicking this lever, and then the world is finally saved. Sonic emerges victorious. Light reigns over darkness, and the world is returned to peace. We cannot live without the night. We all must sleep. We all must rest. Darkness is a part of our world, just as much as light. That balancing act may be the very will of the planet itself. Very inspirational stuff, I love it, but I do have to mention we never wrapped up Chip's amnesia plotline. So I assume that means him and Sonic get to be best friends forever and hang out every single day doing fun stuff till the end of time. What a wholesome ending. And before we end off today, I wanted to just thank every single one of you guys for coming on this journey that helped me see Sonic Unleashed for what it truly is. A revolutionary step forward for the franchise in every conceivable way. I'm so glad I've finally seen the light. What the hell is an Xbox 360? Is this a bootleg copy? Alright, yeah, the video's over now. I'm not gonna play the console version. I don't want to. I'm not gonna change my mind. I'm sorry. This is not exactly an April Fool's joke. It's more of just like a regular joke, so I hope a lot of people don't comment saying I missed April Fool's Day. So, who's the April Fool now? But anyway, I wanted to give a huge thank you to the people who are currently supporting the channel, the people that make these videos possible for me to keep making. People like Keo Cartoons, Noah WizBios, Mr. Dreamcast, Roscoe TGC, Nian, Danny Lee Dauber, Jeremy, Dax, Faye, Minty, Mega Trafficone, Scratch's Junkyard, Ty Little Tech Guy, Crystal, Dork in a Hat, Gino the Puppet, and Noah WizBios again. That was over on Patreon. But, you know, if you want to just get cool emotes to use in the chat below the videos and the little badge next to your name, feel free to click the join button and join these wonderful people. Thank you also to everybody in the $1 tier, because every little bit adds up and helps me in the long run. So thank you so much, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, super fantastic, amazing day.